We inhabit a planet of extremes. Human beings have managed to build lives everywhere from the freezing, isolated expanses of the Arctic tundra to the equator, where relentless heat and dry winds constantly scour the desert dunes. How we pull this off is the core pursuit of geography. It is an entire discipline built to answer one specific question: what is where and why? For most of recorded history, the answer to that question was entirely one-sided. Scholars assumed that the physical environment was a rigid cage that dictated human destiny, culture, and progress. Tracing the interaction between the ever-changing Earth and the people living on it helps us understand the relationship between the physical stage and the human drama played out upon it. The oldest framework used to explain this relationship is called environmental determinism. This is the idea that the natural climate you are born into directly shapes your culture and your personality. You can trace this logic back to the ancient Greek philosopher Hippocrates. He argued that living in a cold place produced emotionally distant people, while living in a hot tropical climate produced people who were inherently lazy and lethargic. This line of thinking survived well into the 20th century. In the 1920s, prominent geographers wrote that the sharp shift in European seasons forced those societies to be more industrious and inventive than societies located closer to the equator. It was a reductionist way to view human development. By assigning traits like industrious or slothful to latitude lines, environmental determinism provided a pseudoscientific cover for racist colonial policies. Beyond the prejudice, the theory fails to account for modern movement. Explaining how we survive in these airless, freezing voids requires a perspective that acknowledges human agency over physical constraints. Modern geographers operate under a framework known as Possibilism. In this view, the physical landscape doesn't dictate your destiny. It merely sets limits and then offers a menu of possibilities for how you might live. When humans encounter a harsh environmental limit, we use technology to loosen the shackles of our geography. We don't wait thousands of years to evolve different metabolic rates to survive the heat. We build a machine, place it in a window, and force the air inside the room to be cold. This creates a reciprocal dialogue. We use natural resources to shape our surroundings, resulting in humanized nature, while our settlements and habits adapt to what the Earth provides. Possibilism proves that a cold environment doesn't rewrite human biology. It simply forces us to invent warmer clothes, build better heaters, and adapt our architecture. With enough technological advancement, societies can push past basic survival and completely override local climate limitations for the sake of leisure. Look at Dubai. Using immense capital and advanced cooling technology, they maintain one of the longest indoor ski slopes in the world, located in the middle of a desert. You can see this same geographic rebellion playing out in the United States, deep in the Appalachian Mountains. The town of Helen, Georgia, took their natural mountainous American landscape and modified the local architecture to mimic a Bavarian village from Germany, overriding their local aesthetic to attract tourism. An old geographer's poem summarizes this dynamic perfectly. You created the soil, I created the cup. You created night, I created the lamp. By deploying enough energy and infrastructure, we have effectively uncoupled our culture from the local climate, moving from a struggle for survival into a stage of creative agency. This continuous interaction with the Earth leaves behind a visible footprint. We call this the cultural landscape, the physical byproduct of how a specific group of people uses their local resources over time. But even with the power to modify a climate, the physical environment still dictates the ultimate carrying capacity of a region. From 100 BC to 1300 AD, the Anasazi people built a sprawling, highly adapted civilization directly into the harsh rock faces of the American Southwest. They were master builders, but when an extended, severe drought hit the region, they lacked the specific water retention technology required to adapt. Their crops failed, and the society collapsed. Those empty cliff dwellings serve as a reminder. Past geographic successes offer no protection if a society fails to respect and adapt to the Earth's shifting environmental limits. Today, our technological capacity is vastly superior to the Anasazi, but we are using it to extract resources at an accelerated, highly disruptive pace, creating a dangerous global ecological imbalance. We have successfully escaped our early stage of necessity, But the stage of freedom we inhabit now is fragile. Machines can cool a room, but they cannot replace a collapsed biosphere. This is why studying the physical environment remains essential. Evaluating our natural resources and tracking atmospheric shifts are the only ways we can manage what we take from the Earth. Our modern task is a sustainable collaboration with nature, managing resources so the Earth remains habitable for the generations that follow.